right, well, happy quarantine, everybody. So I've seen so many great videos of people doing live streams of shows in their living rooms or doing makeup tutorials, and the best ones are the people that don't normally do makeup tutorials. Those have been thoroughly entertaining. So to help combat some boredom, I'm a guitar teacher. I thought I have so many friends on Facebook that are guitar players. Maybe I could help out and show them a couple of cool ideas to kind of help them deal with quarantine. So basically what I was doing there is I was using some passing tones that aren't normally found in your typical sort of minor pentatonic scale, kind of borrowing from other scales or other modes and kind of using them to kind of spice things up and help get from point A to point B. So I had fully intend to do a big series of music theory related stuff that will be up on YouTube. But since a lot of people don't really care about that stuff and just want to rock, this is going to be a really simplified little explanation. So I'm just going to talk about what frets I'm playing. I might accidentally throw some little terms out intervallically just because I'm used to doing that. But if you're just playing in the key of A minor and you want to rock, here's some cool tips. So basically what I was doing to kind of start that little lick off, I was essentially just playing the minor pentatonic scale backwards. But the really cool thing about stringed instruments is we can play the exact same notes at the exact same pitch in multiple different spots. So like on a piano, you can play a C, you can play a lower C, you can play a higher C. Guitar, we can play the same note at the same pitch. So this is pretty cool. So what I was doing there is I was essentially just going backwards down my minor pentatonic scale. And just in case you don't actually know that, this is pretty simple. It's basically on your thickest string, you're gonna go from the 5th fret to the 8th fret. Next string, you go 5th fret to 7th fret. Next string, 5th fret to 7th fret. Next string, 5th fret to 7th fret. Next string, 5th to 8th. And the last string, we really end on the 5th fret because we're guitar players and we don't care about rules. We're gonna go until we run out of strings. So we're just gonna come up to the 8th fret. So we've got... So if I just played a couple of notes backwards, it would sound like this. But I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna go in the box below that box. So all I'm doing is I'm going from 5 to 3, 5 to 3 on the next string, and then 5 to 2. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the 4th fret on both the E string and the B string in there. So I'm gonna go, and if anyone cares, it's just basically going from your root note to your major 7, which isn't normally in there, to flat 7 from the minor scale, our 5, flat 5, come down to the 4th fret, minor 3rd, root note. So we're gonna go, and we're gonna make a cool rock and roll sort of pattern out of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna walk up into that 5th fret. So I'm gonna start on the 3rd fret and I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna come up, I'm gonna go backwards, and then to basically spice it up a little more, I'm gonna do an additional ham run and pull off from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret. And then I sort of end the phrase on the 5th fret of the B string, which happens to be the 5th degree of the scale. So I'm gonna go. When you slow it down, it kind of makes it sound sort of seasick. So this is something that you kind of work up to be kind of a big, powerful rock lick. But you do that until you're bored. So you do, and then you just move it over a string. And then to kind of finish the lick off, what I'm doing is I'm going to this minor 3rd degree, and this is the 5th fret, and I'm gonna bend it out of tune intentionally. This is a microtonal bend. So this is a note that you can't actually find on the piano, but it adds a cool little bit of tension and sort of a cool rock and roll flair. So I'm gonna pull this just slightly out of tune on purpose to make it so that when it resolves on the root note, everyone kind of like, huh, it's like we made it to the right note. So it's coming out of that lick, it looks like this. Do that a bunch of times, then move over. Right, so if I play that against the root note, it sounds pretty ugly, but on our way to another note, it sounds pretty cool. And then I just finish it off again by doing that same thing. So I'm gonna go, then over. Okay, so that was the first lick I played. The next one we're gonna do is, again, repetitive patterns that are really easy on your fingers. So on the E string, the B string, and the G string, I'm gonna play the 5th fret, the 7th fret, and the 8th fret, and it's gonna look like this. Now, to make it interesting, we're going to do some repetitive patterns. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to repeat 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8 on the B string a bunch of times. So it's going to go. And then once I've milked that for all it's worth, I'm just going to run over and I'm going to do an additional kind of repetitive pattern. So it would come up. So this was just coming up 5, 7, 8, back to 7, down to 5, back up to 7, back to 5, back to 8. And to keep this video from being like half an hour, just go ahead and pause and rewind and kind of get that look under your fingers before we move on. But yeah, so that all together, we get that. Again with the microtonal bend, resolving on the root note, and then ending on the microtonal bend. And that's a really cool thing to do to also stinky cheese face helps. Anytime you look like you smelled something terrible or you just stubbed your toe, it's a cool rock move. Everybody loves it. So what we're gonna do is to kind of end that phrase, we're gonna bend it just to the point where it's starting to go out of tune and then just kill it with the right hand. Okay, so now moving on to the next thing. So what we're going to do is we started a box below our regular minor pentatonic scale. We ended up in our regular minor pentatonic scale box that we all know and love. We're also going to include 2 boxes further up the neck. So to get there, I'm going to do this little maneuver. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the 5th fret of my D string. And again, we're going to just talk about frets, not intervals. We're going to go 5 to 7, then we're going to go 5, 7, and then slide up to 9 on the G string. So we're going to go 8 to 10 on the B string, and then 8 to 10 on the E string. And then, because I'm a wild and crazy guy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to the next box, but I'm going to do it by bending. So I'm going to bend my 10th fret to make it sound like my 12th fret. So we get that in our head. And then I'm going to let it go up and then back down like a pendulum. So I'm going to go. Then the next one is a turbo bend. We're going to do a minor third interval distance. I'm going to bend the 12th fret to make it sound like 15. So if I come up, get that in my head. So, and we're going to do these back to back. So if I come up, I'm going to go. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be a little tough on your fingers, but I have faith in you. So one more time, we're going to go 5 to 7, 5 to 7 up to 9. Then we're going to go 8, 10, 8, 10, bend. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add, again, more notes that aren't normally in the pentatonic scale. We're going to go 12, 11, 10. So it's going to go 12, 11, 10, 8, and then 10 in the B string. But wait, there's more. So what we can do is we've got this cool 11th fret deal happening here. So I can walk down. So you can either kind of do hammer-ons and pull-offs from 10 to 11 to 10 back to 8, or what I think is really cool is to bend this 10th fret until it sounds like 11. It's a little more bluesy, a little more kind of soulful, if you will. And then again, if you want to be a real fancy pants about it, I really love bending 10 to sound like 12, releasing it down to sound like 11 before resolving on 10 again. So you can go. And that little phrase, a little tasty, again with a microtonal bend. So that's 8 to 10 to 8 and a little bend. So we got. I'm going to come out of this lick by just going the same way that I got here. So I'm going to go 10 to 8, then I'm going to go to 9. I'm going to grab this 8th fret, which is again that flat 5, down to 7, down to 5. Then I'm going to grab this root note on the 7th fret. So I've got. And again, in that little area, you can do the same thing that you did here. It's the same notes, just an octave lower. So you can come down. That's just going to go 7 down to 4. Sorry. 6, math. So we've got 7 to 6 to 5, down to this 3rd fret, microtonal bend on this one, and then the 5th fret. So again, all together we've got